still state entities. That's where your Lubbock Independent School District comes from, because it was independent of the county, not of the state, of the county. It was still a state entity. But then we fund it through this weird local property tax. It's a very weird bifurcated system that we have got to get around to fixing. It's state of the art for 1899. We really have to get it fixed for the 21st century. Yes, sir.
My daughter attended school, grade school in Dallas. Not only did she get free lunch, they don't get free breakfast. Because the parents take care of the kids. They send them to school and get brandy or something. And function on breakfast, so they get breakfast. I have a friend of mine that lives in El Paso. He said he won't believe how many cars come along with the kids from Mexico to go to our schools, free education, that don't pay school taxes in the United States. He says there's thousands of cars coming through Juarez from Chihuahua County, or whatever it's called. Chihuahua coming through our American schools to get educated. They pay no taxes.
Hey. And in many big school districts, they're starting to, kids can get a box to take home for dinner. So it's the new big thing is free dinners to take home. It's in a nice little white box, there's a juice box or milk and other stuff in it. It's a really cool deal. No, you're absolutely right. We find that what happens there is those kids are all legal students because their parents find a relative or someone who's willing to claim that the kid lives in El Paso or in Laredo or Brownsville or McAllen or any of those border cities, border towns, and so they have a Texas address despite the fact they come across the border every day. And that's a problem. But I'd suggest to you that the cost problems in public education are not illegal aliens. They're not. I've seen the rolls. I look at the names of people who are getting the free lunch. Far more people named Smith getting these outlandish benefits than named Gonzalez getting these benefits. And we can't make this. We can't delude ourselves and say, well, as long as we get the illegals out, then we've got a problem. Get the problem under handle. No. We just still have the problem. We just don't have the illegals on there. We have to be addressing the real problem, which is the existence of this system that is out of control and has to be reformed. You look at Dallas. A lot of us as conservatives say that big means greater efficiencies. Well, unfortunately, Dallas, Houston, El Paso, even San Antonio, Austin School District have all gotten so big that they lose their efficiency because they become these mindless bureaucracies that exist for the sake of existing. We need to make sure as taxpayers, whether it's education or health care, wherever it may be, that if we are spending our tax dollars on it, that we're not funding institutions, we're funding outcomes. If a box with monkeys in it dancing to some pop song can get kids to figure out how to read, I'll buy the box if you'll provide the monkeys. We should be about funding solutions and outcomes, not funding institutions. Not just because independent school districts have always been there, we keep funding them forever and always. No, they need to prove their worth. They need to be out providing real outcomes for Texas taxpayers. Yes, ma'am. It is very clearly not for the children. You could make a case that 40 years ago public education was about educating kids. Today, public education serves one and only one purpose, and that's to employ adults. The only reason we have public education, quite frankly, is to employ adults. Public schools are the #1 employer in most state house and state senate districts in Texas. The #1 employer. Okay, so when you hear folks say, "Oh, it's for the children," give me a break. No, it's not. If it was for the children, you wouldn't have 17 layers of deputy associate superintendents who all happen to also be former football coaches and basketball coaches who just couldn't win enough games. If it was really about the children, you'd have a lot more teachers staying in the classroom. The average life expectancy of a teacher in public schools in Texas, when you set aside ladies who go home, have babies, and decide to just stay home with the kids, when you take those people out of the equation, when you just look at people who leave public education to go be stockbroker or something else, it's about 4.5 years. Average time a person stays in public is about 4.5 years. That's insane. So if it's for the children, we'd be paying our teachers a lot better. We'd have a lot more teachers staying in the classroom longer. But it's not for the children. It's about employing people who create fiefdoms for bureaucracies. So we need to be willing to push back a little bit more. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, sir.
I know you got